In terms of HR transformation, our journey began really in 2010. We have a new senior leadership team in place who fundamentally repositioned the business in terms of our strategic approach, placing the business as a value carrier rather than in the low-cost position that we had been in the marketplace. This led to a significant upturn in the fortunes of the business, but from a HR point of view, challenged us to see what did we need to do from a HR perspective to support the value proposition. So I suppose with a low-cost proposition, the deal for HR was quite simple. Let's keep costs low, let's keep costs within HR low. From a value proposition, it became how do we actually drive value, which drove us to look at talent and at change management as the keys to what we needed to do. Now, when we actually benchmarked what we were doing, we discovered that that was accounting for less than 5% of our time because we had noisy administration, systems that didn't link up with each other, processes that were fundamentally broken. So one of the early decisions we made was that in order to facilitate ourselves getting into the strategic space that we wanted to be in, we needed to do something about payroll and we needed to do something about our processes.
What step did you take to find a HR partner?
We went through a significant search process, RFP process. Went through the whole sourcing procedure, a lot of due diligence. I suppose what was key to us was bearing in mind both what we needed and what we wanted. And there were a few key things there from our perspective. We're an organisation of 3,500 people. We're pretty small, so what we needed was integration. We needed a neat solution, not something that had multiple parts to it. So integration was very much key. We were also looking to find a provider that could give us service and technology together rather than be dealing with several providers. Again, neatness. And while they're the things that we believe we wanted, what we also needed was to be able to rely on payroll working first time and working every time. So they were the pillars upon which we based our search, and ultimately it was NGA HR who best met our needs in that regard.
Has the implementation taken place?
Yeah, over the last 2 to 3 years, but particularly since early 2012 when we signed up with NGA HR, we've begun to implement. As I say, what we were looking for was payroll, was services and was systems. While NGA HR were able to offer us the integration we were looking for, we felt that some of the functionality, particularly around talent administration or learning administration, was not quite where we needed it to be. So part of the agreement we came to with NGA was development of that technology offering. So because of that, what we've done is we've taken a staged approach. We implemented payroll and we implemented HR services all in Q1 2013. And the smooth implementation of payroll and the smooth implementation of the service centre has allowed us to spend the time and to buy us the time within the organisation to focus on getting the technology right when it comes to talent, when it comes to learning, when it comes to recruitment. We've had an interesting journey there with NGA HR because, as I say, part of our contracting was to develop the technology that exists there, and we didn't want it as bespoke for Aer Lingus, and NGA committed to developing the core product to a specification agreed between us. So obviously that's proved to be a challenge for us both as we go in terms of our demands and our needs for everything to be done sooner, and NGA's needs to establish the core product to a level that they're satisfied with. But I think what's helped us in dealing with that implementation time frame has been one, that we had a very clear contract and a very clear statement of work where we both knew what we had signed up to, and the clarity of it meant that we didn't have to focus on the letter of the contract. We could focus on the spirit of the contract and helping us both to deliver, and really the ability to do that has been based on having good working relationships within the project team and between our two businesses from early in the process.
And have you started to achieve any of the results you set out to?
What we've achieved thus far, as I say, is a pretty painless implementation on payroll, which has been great in terms of buying us the time. We have our service centre up and running now 6 months on. Feedback surveys are positive to begin with, so again, they're all good starts. And what we have now is a product that we're ready to go live with our self-service in, that we think has significantly moved on from where it was at the time, gives us what we were looking for. I think that probably gives Northgate a better offering than heretofore, and that positions us to take the next step. And the next step for us hopefully is to work with NGA again to say, okay, how do we move forward from here? Now that we have the benefit of an integrated system, how do we use the data that provides us to move from backward reporting to forward reporting and help the talent agenda, help the change agenda that we're trying to drive by being able to base it on predictive analytics?